Dynasties don't die loudly. They don't collapse in a single moment. They fade slowly from dominance to dysfunction. The Golden State Warriors were once inevitable. Opponents felt it before tip-off. Fans felt it before the season started. But somewhere along the way, inevitability turned into volatility. And at the center of that shift stood the same man who helped build it all, Draymond Green. This is not the story people usually tell. This isn't about jump shots or box scores. It's about leadership, ego, culture, and what happens when edge turns into excess. Before the championships, before the spotlight, the Warriors were fragile. Stephen Curry had bad ankles. Klay Thompson was unproven. Golden State was a punchline franchise. They needed toughness. They needed someone who didn't care about perception. Draymond Green arrived at the perfect time. A second-round pick from Michigan State, he brought something the Warriors didn't have: confrontation. He challenged teammates, he yelled in huddles, he demanded defensive effort. And because the team was rising, it worked. Early Draymond wasn't chaos, he was urgency. Draymond Green was basketball intelligence weaponized. He wasn't fast, he anticipated. He wasn't tall, he leveraged angles. He wasn't skilled offensively, he made everyone else better. But most importantly, he protected Stephen Curry. Draymond absorbed physicality so Steph didn't have to. He barked at referees so others could focus. He embraced the villain role. In the early years, Draymond's volatility felt controlled, because the culture still controlled him. Steve Kerr didn't just coach basketball, he managed personalities. The Warriors' culture was built on one unspoken agreement: everyone is accountable. Andre Iguodala sacrificed starts. David Lee lost his role, even stars adapted. Draymond thrived in this system because consequences still existed, until the cost of punishing him became too high. Game 5 of the 2016 NBA Finals was more than a suspension. It was a test. Draymond knew the stakes, he knew the rules, he knew the consequences. And still, he crossed the line. The Warriors lost more than a game. They lost control. From that moment on, a precedent was set. Draymond's behavior could swing championships, and yet nothing changed, because the team believed winning would always outweigh the damage. Kevin Durant didn't solve the Warriors' issues, he masked them. When Draymond erupted, Durant scored. When chaos surfaced, Durant dominated. Dominance hides dysfunction. But internally, the balance shifted. Draymond began to see himself not as a role player, but as a pillar equal to stars. And when Durant's commitment was questioned publicly, the fracture became visible. The dynasty survived, the culture weakened. After Durant left, the Warriors needed maturity. They needed patience. They needed mentorship. Instead, tension filled the vacuum. Draymond remained confrontational. But now, there was no dominance to erase consequences. Young players didn't feel empowered. They felt judged. And fear replaced freedom. When Draymond punched Jordan Poole, the Warriors crossed a point of no return. This wasn't intensity. This wasn't leadership. It was violence inside a fragile culture. And worse, it was tolerated. The message was clear. Hierarchy mattered more than harmony. Poole never recovered. Trust never returned. The locker room fractured quietly. Dynasties cannot survive broken trust. Draymond's suspensions weren't isolated incidents. They were compounding costs, lost games, disrupted rotations, mental exhaustion. Stephen Curry remained elite, but leadership became a burden. And when your best player is managing chaos instead of chasing greatness, decline accelerates. The Warriors were once feared, not because of talent, but because of unity. By the end, opponents saw cracks. They baited Draymond. They waited for meltdowns. They knew chaos was always one call away. Fear was gone. And without fear, dynasties are just teams. Draymond Green didn't ruin the Warriors' dynasty alone, but he never evolved with it. The traits that built the climb weren't the traits needed to sustain the peak. Dynasties demand adaptability. They demand restraint. They demand leaders who change when the moment changes. The NBA believed edge was enough. History shows otherwise.